On tonight's session of The Listening Room, I'm hanging out with Los Angeles-based Rockchild. The guys just put out their first full-length album, Living on Fire, and I'm actually going to be joined by guitarist and backing vocalist Stu Gotz tonight. Stu, can you give us a little background? How was the band formed? What's your guys' origin story? How'd you all meet? How'd you get into Rockchild?
Well, Rockchild actually existed before I joined. So Matt and Nate are kind of the core members of the group. I joined them about 4 years ago. Just heard about them. I heard their kind of demo that they were pushing at the time, which featured a pretty similar version of Against a Man, and I just loved the song. I just thought it stuck out from everything that I had heard from other bands. It was really well written, and it just had a great energy, great intensity, and I just went and met the guys, auditioned, and we hit it off really fast. You know, so it's kind of like I kind of knew it was going to work with these guys after having been in several other bands and doing music for a long time, and so we've been together since. And then we picked up a couple other guys after that to fill out the whole lineup, and continued writing together. And the writing style kind of expanded a bit because I brought some new influences, I think, to the band. And but it works out really well.
Yeah, I noticed when I'm looking at the actual Rockchild album here, it says, you know, Rockchild is, and it's Matt, Nathan, and then you, Stu. And now, since then, you guys have added what? Limit and Fry, correct?
Right.
All
yeah,
right.
bass and drums.
Yep. And with that, let's get into the very first single off the album, Living on Fire. Here they are, Rockchild with Against a Man on 97.3 The Rock. 97.3 The Rock, Against a Man, from the album Living on Fire. That's Rockchild. Once again, I'm Tom Drake, taking care of you in this session of The Listening Room. I'm joined with guitarist Stu Gotz. We've got a lot of stuff to cover here, Stu. Let's get back into it. As you look to the future with those guys, obviously, will the writing style change a little bit, or is it still going to be mainly Nathan and Matt really working on a lot of them together?
Basically, yeah, Matt and Nathan do the principal writing, so they will collaborate and kind of get the chords worked out. Nate, of course, on guitar, and then Matt will start writing his melodies and his lyric ideas, and I actually kind of get involved once that whole foundation is there, and I'll bring a different perspective because I have a good ear for details and things, because I also do music professionally for film trailers and stuff. So just from years of tweaking stuff, I kind of come in and I'll figure out, you know, little places where the melody could be beefed up a little bit, or I'll just bring a new perspective too and just say, well, you know, this energy isn't fitting with that. And then as far as the bass and drums go, because those guys are relatively new, they do contribute, but I tend to actually write a lot of the bass lines. You know, we've had a lot of success with that. It's a good system, and you know, it's good having a bass player that he has great ideas too, and he contributes as well. But you know, to be honest with you, I think the reason we kind of have this system is that trying to get 5 guys to do anything simultaneously on the same page is really difficult. So I think that's why it's really centered around Matt and Nate, and then the rest of us will embellish on what they have, basically.
All right, cool. And that goes into my next question. How is the writing process for this album, Living on Fire?
So the songs basically start just as ideas. You know, Nate essentially will come up with a musical idea, and that sets pretty much the tone and the energy. And I might have suggestions for tempo and things like that. And then Matt starts building on that vibe of what Nate's done musically. So if it's a darker song like Hollow, he'll start coming up with concepts, ideas for lyrics and melodies that are going to fit that vibe. And then as far as the kind of the difference in styles, we don't limit ourselves to any particular sound. So we're not trying to write a particular type of song. It starts really with a guitar riff, with a cool guitar riff and a cool guitar vibe, and we build it from there, and we capitalize on it, whether it's bluesy or very dark, you know, kind of creepy sounding, or really upbeat and happy sounding, or, you know, whatever the vibe is, and just move forward from there. And then we get to a point where the song is basically there, and then we really sit down and we go through it with a fine-tooth comb. We're not huge on improvisation, really. Everything's been already planned out and thought out very carefully.
All right, let's get into another tune off Living on Fire from Rockchild. Here's the second tune on the album, Classic, on 97.3 The Rock.
You're in the listening room with Tom Drake on 97.3 The Rock.
97.3 The Rock. I'm Tom Drake taking you through this session of The Listening Room, hanging out with Stu Gotz of Rockchild. He is, of course, their guitarist and backing vocalist. Now, you guys have been out on tour. How has the reaction been from people that are hearing you guys for the first time?
Yeah, it's been really positive. You know, in here in LA, we kind of have like a big fish in a small pond here in LA because the active rock scene is not the most popular scene out here. It's definitely more of an indie rock scene. So when we do play venues, oftentimes we will be on a bill with a band that's a substantially different style of music, but it's great because people are not closed-minded about it, and people do like the energy. I mean, we've got 2 guitars. We've got pretty substantial rigs. You know, our drummer has a pretty sick kit, so it's kind of something you're not seeing too much here in Southern California these days, and it definitely sticks out. It's impressive. It's bigger. It's louder. It's very in your face, and people respond very positively. And then just outside of LA, people are really into this music, and I think they're very excited to see bands that are still rocking hard and doing something creative and original and fresh sounding, something from the heart, something really motivated and not just cookie cutter type of music.
Now, can you tell me a little bit about the song Hollow? Now, that's one of the ones I picked out right away. Really enjoyed that track. You said that was one of the very first ones you were writing on.
Yes. Some of Hollow carried over from ideas from Live on Fire, in a way. It calls for its own song. You know, sometimes you have somebody go, well, geez, we can't pack all this into one song. So it's almost like a sequel or something. And, yeah, so we did write it immediately after Live on Fire. And the concept really, you know, maybe this hollowness isn't real, or maybe you can get it figured out, and then, boom, it just hit you. And it just comes back with a lot of aggression. And it's just like that power, the intensity of, you know, kind of coping with a condition that you just can't defeat.
Well, here it is, the track Hollow from Living on Fire. It's Rockchild on 97.3 The Rock.
You're in the listening room with Tom Drake on 97.3 The Rock.
97.3 The Rock. Tom Drake here, hanging out with you in this session of The Listening Room. I've still got Stu on the line here, and we are talking about the album Living on Fire by Rockchild, their first full-length album. One more great tune on the way, but first, what has been the most influential thing on your guys' music? What really helped you guys get to where you're at?
Well, I think a lot of it is expression. I think wanting to try to capture a feeling or an idea, something that you cope with in your life, and try to wrap it up into something that you can connect with people, you know, emotionally. If I could quote Beavis and Butthead, I don't know, is that okay on the radio?
Go for it, man.
He said, Beavis and Butthead, I think one of them said, if we didn't have stuff that sucks, how would we know something's cool? Yeah, that's it. That's kind of like another way of looking at it. So, yeah, so I think these ideas are about things that we cope with, and then wanting to share that with people, make a connection, because sometimes you can have a feeling and you think, well, am I the only person that has this idea? And then there's other songs where it's actually much more of like a sharing thing, like, hey, isn't this cool? Like that we're all in this together when you're feeling good, and you write a song where it's really about being excited and feeling good. And the same thing, it's like you want to share with somebody, you know, like you want to celebrate. So it's really about connecting, and I think that's the biggest motivation, and that's really what drives us, is we love playing shows and connecting with people, and, you know, people being able to hear the song and feeling something, reacting to it, where, like I said, they get that feeling like, hey, you know, we're sharing something together.
All right, let's hop into our last tune of the evening. Here's Bang from Living on Fire. It's Rockchild on 97.3 The Rock.
1, 2, 3, 4! Bang, bang, bang.
97.3 The Rock, that's Bang from Rockchild. Still hanging out with Stu. Now, Stu, can you give them all a heads up? Tell our listeners how they can get a hold of you guys, social media, stuff like that.
Yeah, they can find us on Facebook at Facebook Rockchild Music. And we have Twitter as well, Rockchild Music. They can follow our updates and so forth. And the mothership is real easy, just rockchild.com.
Yep, and that ends our time here for the evening on this session of The Listening Room. Stu, it's been a lot of fun hanging out with you. Thanks for coming out, man. It's been a great show.
Oh, thanks, man. Well, yeah, when Nate was telling me about this, and we are super jazzed about it, man. For the concept for the show and everything is awesome, and we really appreciate that you think we're worth putting that much time and effort into. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Hey, man, if you put the time and effort into an album, you're worth the time, man.
Yeah, thank you.